What if you woke up one day and realized that your whole life was a lie, that you had been living in a fantasy world created by someone else, that you had been the victim of a cruel and elaborate hoax? That's what happened to Sherri Papini, a mother of two from California who vanished for 3 weeks in 2016 and reappeared with a shocking story of being kidnapped and tortured by two Hispanic women. But her story was nothing but a fabrication, a scheme to get attention and money from her ex-boyfriend and others. Sherri Papini was a seemingly normal mother of two, living in a quiet neighborhood in Redding, California. She had a loving husband, Keith, and two children, Caden and Carly. She worked as an administrative assistant at a local school district. She enjoyed running, hiking, and spending time with her family and friends. But on November 2nd, 2016, everything changed. Sherri went out for a jog around 8:30 a.m., wearing her usual blue jacket and black leggings. She told her husband that she would be back soon and left her phone at home. She never returned. 3 weeks later, on November 24th, 2016, Sherri reappeared on Thanksgiving Day, claiming that she had been kidnapped and tortured by two Hispanic women who spoke little English. She said they had taken her to Mexico or somewhere in the desert where they had held her captive for 3 weeks. They had branded her right shoulder with a heated tool, beaten her with sticks and chains, and threatened to kill her if she tried to escape or contact anyone. Sherri's story shocked and terrified everyone who knew her. Her husband reported her missing to the police immediately after finding her cell phone and earbuds at the scene of the alleged abduction. The police launched an extensive search for the kidnappers across several states, following every lead and tip they could find. They also contacted the FBI's Behavioral Analysis Unit for assistance in identifying any possible suspects or motives. Sherri's case received widespread media attention as well. Her story was featured on national news outlets such as CNN, BBC, Fox News, and others. Her story also inspired books by authors such as Karen Slaughter and James Patterson. Her story became one of the most baffling and controversial cases in recent American history. But what no one knew was that Sherri's story was nothing but a lie. In August 2020, after nearly 4 years of investigation by state and federal authorities, Sherri's case finally came to light when investigators discovered that she had fabricated the entire kidnapping scenario from scratch. They found out that she had been staying with an ex-boyfriend named James Reyes during the time she was supposedly missing. They also found out that she had harmed herself in order to give credence to her lies. The investigators used DNA evidence from Sherri's clothing to link her to Reyes' apartment in Yolo County. They also used cell phone records to show that she had been in contact with him throughout the ordeal. They confronted Sherri with these findings when they arrested her on March 3, 2022. Sherri initially denied everything, but later confessed to lying about being kidnapped by two Hispanic women who branded her shoulder. She said she did it because she wanted attention from Reyes. She also said she did it because she wanted money from various sources such as charities, family members, friends, and even strangers who sent her letters of support. Sherri pleaded guilty to mail fraud and making false statements to federal agents in April 2022. She admitted that she had orchestrated the hoax for years without regard for the harm she caused others. She faced up to 25 years in prison between the charges of mail fraud and lying to a federal officer. On September 19, 2022, Sherri was sentenced to 18 months in prison, followed by 36 months of supervised release by Judge William B. Shub. She also ordered to pay nearly $310,000 in restitution. The sentence was much longer than what prosecutors had requested or what defense attorneys had asked for. Sherri expressed remorse for lying about being kidnapped, but said she did not believe it herself at first when Reyes told her about it. She said he convinced her that it was true because he acted scared and traumatized by it. She said he also manipulated her into staying with him by promising love and protection from his abusive family members who lived nearby. Sherri's case has raised many questions about why someone would lie about being kidnapped so elaborately and persistently for so long. Some experts have suggested that Sherri may have suffered from mental health issues such as narcissism or borderline personality disorder that made her crave attention or validation from others. Others have suggested that Sherri may have been influenced by media portrayals of kidnappings such as movies or TV shows that made them seem glamorous or exciting, rather than terrifying or traumatic. Whatever the reasons behind Sherri's deception may be, one thing is clear. She fooled everyone with her fake kidnapping story. She fooled her husband, who stood by her side throughout the ordeal and defended her against skeptics. She fooled the police, who spent countless hours and resources trying to find her and her captors. She fooled the media, who gave her sympathetic coverage and portrayed her as a victim of a brutal crime. She fooled the public, who donated money and offered prayers for her safe return. But she also fooled herself. She fooled herself into believing that her lies would not catch up with her. She fooled herself into thinking that she could get away with her scheme. She fooled herself into ignoring the consequences of her actions. Sherri's case is not only a story of a vanishing act, but also a story of a self-deception. It is a story of how a person can create a false reality for themselves and others, and how that reality can crumble under the weight of evidence and truth. It is a story of how a person can lose themselves in their own lies, and how they can face the harsh reality of their choices. The Vanishing Act is a gripping exploration into the mysterious saga of Sherri Papini, unraveling the perplexing story of how she fooled investigators and her family with a phony kidnap plot. It delves into the investigative, psychological, and societal dimensions that contributed to the confusion and controversy of Sherri Papini's case, exploring the events leading up to her Vanishing Act and the subsequent revelations. It uncovers law enforcement perspectives, family dynamics, and the evolving narrative of this deceptive plot. It incorporates expert analyses, personal interviews, and the unfolding story behind the Vanishing Act, maintaining a captivating blend of suspense, investigation, and the enduring fascination with the twists and turns of this unusual case.